Hi everybody, I'm here in St Martha's here up Love Lane in County Charleville, or Charleville Town, County Charleville. I'm here with the famous Jackie O'Connor, with the great surname as the O'Connor, as you know. Jackie, fantastic to meet you. I haven't met you for a while, but between this COVID, I suppose you haven't seen a whole pile of anybody. But Jackie, I suppose the first question I'd ask you is, I suppose, give me a bit about your mother and father and your family and where you were, where it all started, the journey all started off with you.
My father's name is Jack. My mother's name is Joan. I was born in the old Limerick Road. My father worked in the creamery in Baker's Lane, and my mum was a midwife. And when I was about 5, we moved to Holy Cross. I was reared in Holy Cross.
What number Holy Cross were you?
Number 1, next, just above at the lane from Sherman's shop.
That's where Martin Haney and his wife lived for years.
Yeah,
same
yeah, Martin got us his son.
So obviously you knew my grandmother Kitty in number 8.
I told you before, I smoked my first cigarette in number 8 Holy Cross. I knew all the lads, Paddy got us his son, Liam got us his son, Seamus,
and
Mary and Margaret.
Yeah.
I knew all the lads.
So
Holy Cross was a great place that time.
what are your memories of that? What was it like growing up in Holy Cross that time? Was it the fun place it still is, and homely, and everybody knows?
At that time, Holy Cross residents were kind of treated in part as second-class citizens.
Right.
Do you know, if you went down to town, you felt you were kind of out of place. Do you know, even going to school, I was alright in primary. In secondary, I was the only local in the class.
All from out of town? Or
all country lads. All the business people's sons were away on boarding school.
You know, the blood bandage of Charleville came out of those places.
Yeah.
You know, hurlers and footballers and whatever, you know.
There was some great players of all codes.
Yeah.
And that on soccer, GA and everything.
Yeah.
Rugby, you know what I mean? You're numerous great players from Holy Cross.
Yeah. What was it like to, I suppose, what was the town like to say, what pubs do you remember having your first jar in, say, around town now? Or
My first jar was underage in Maggie Cross. We was going from the Ballally into Maggie Cross.
Brilliant. Yeah. And Teddy was on about that one.
We were just talking about it last week up by Maggie
Teddy
Cross.
gave us the tour of Smith's Road.
Yeah, I saw it, but I got no sound. I couldn't get sound.
All right, okay. What was I going to say to you? I suppose, Jackie, how I got to know you, I suppose, myself and you were fond of an old bit, I suppose. Can you tell me, I suppose, one thing I'd always, what's the best bit you ever remember getting up, or, you know, or a win that you had that you'll never forget, or was there some team you backed, or was there something that sticks in your mind that way, or a horse even?
There's two bits that stick in my mind. I won the jackpot in Galway in 1980.
My God, how much was that back then, Jackie?
10-6.
What would that be in today's money, do you think? Ballpark.
40 years ago. It's supposed to be the bonds of 80 grand, this was.
Oh my God.
Oh,
God, I remember that myself.
Jesus Christ.
That was the biggest touch I ever had.
Yeah. No, and I suppose, Jackie, what you're massively well known for is the soccer club. Can you tell me how you got involved in that and what year? And
1968.
You were one of the founder members.
I was a founder member, yeah.
Who was involved with you in that, Jackie?
Peter Farnell, Davy O'Sullivan, Dahi, Dave Shanahan.
Yeah.
But
and was Eddie Shaughnessy that time? No, he was
a little later, yeah. A little later.
And sure, God rest him, Timmy was massive man for the club, wasn't he?
Timmy wouldn't have been in it at the founding either.
No, but he came along soon after and took it on.
I suppose one of the greatest clubmen we ever had.
That's right. And Eddie Shan is still involved. You know, you still have the same guys that were involved back then. What can you tell me about the development of the club? It's massive what they've done with the grounds and what they've done since your time, Jackie.
Well, I think if I can take credit for anything club-wise, I was instrumental in getting school by football.
Oh, that's incredible now. Mm-hmm.
And I remember the first game, we played Janesborough from Limerick City. We were beaten 10-0. And I said to myself, I'll hear all about it Tuesday night. But when we're getting out to Ian minibus, Span Lippers says, when is the next match? I was saying I'll be in for a Balkan.
Yeah.
And Little Nipper said, when's the next match? I said, if you want another match, I said, you'll get another match.
Yeah.
And 6 years later, we won an under-16 double with that team.
Just, we'll say, what prompted to go to Limerick, Jackie, instead of going to Cork, we'll say, as a Cork club, like?
Geography.
Geography, yeah.
Limerick, as you know, it was way nearer.
Yeah.
Whereas that time there was no West Cork League, so it was only the one school by league in Cork in that time.
Yeah.
So you'd have been facing trips to West Cork.
Yeah.
And you remember, Paddy, even when we were in the CBS, we was playing the South Limerick League.
Yeah.
It was never Cork for something. We were just.
Who would you always remember, and who were the big characters in town?
The big characters in town, the cinema.
Right.
Jack Kavanagh, got us see all.
Right.
Remember now, there's two sides to this house, the inside and the outside. There will be one.
Right.
The Taston School under the Glen Bridge.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. My father talks about it all the time. Big money won it last.
Huge money gamble there.
Yeah.
And there was the Taston School in the Square Lane. And there was
Where's
one,
Square Lane now?
the back of Martels, you know, you can go
right.
the two entrances, you can go from Chapel Street or you can go from the main street.
That was what it was called, the Square Lane.
The Square Lane. But, and there's be a Taston School in Baker's Lane. And there's play handball after Creamery Wall there.
Did they?
Yeah.
Any other characters you remember in your time growing up? There must have been a lot of them, no?
There was. I remember a big thing to tell you about the way times have changed, money-wise and all that. And on Christmas Eve, all the young lads from Holy Cross would gather outside Shelman's shop to see who'd be the first man coming home drunk, and you get a few sweets. You know,
Yeah.
Great old stories.
Yeah, the great.
And where was the main drinking joint, say, when you were growing up? Like, I know you said where you had your first pipe, but was that the main pub, or was there another pub that...
There was 28 of them.
Which one would have been, I suppose, name 2 or 3 that would have been the
No, the first, we'd say, official drink I had, except for the illegal ones in Maggie Cross. My father said to me one Friday night, he said, I know you're taking the pint. He said, you might as well have one with me. We went to Tom Stack's. And before that, we was going to Bridie O'Brien's Packies.
Yeah.
There was a skittle table there. But they'd have to be gone before my father finished work because that was his house at the time. But,
So you'd have the few early ones to be gone before they'd finish work.
But otherwise, Good Friday, I remember of a Good Friday. Dick Dinny, he got us this all, and myself were working Good Friday. And we got in. I won't say where, but because we had no recollection of time, we left at 5 to 3, and we ran into all the people going to the church, and we taken both sides of the road.
Oh, God. That's brilliant. It's fantastic to hear about, you know, the older time. I mean, I suppose the town is still the same in structure, but just the change, like the amount of pubs that are there now, Jackie, compared to the 10 years ago.
It's only 6 now, is it?
7 or 8.
That's in many,
Yeah.
no?
No, but like it's a quarter, and you think, you know, industry-wise, you think things had built up, but things have actually got worse, I suppose. You know.
I'd say the one thing that's gone from the town, the small little local shop.
Yes. And O'Connell's shop was the last of them, and Dick's, the two of them, they were kind of.
Do you know, in my time, down to Mayor Smith's in the morning for the paper.
That's right.
Up when we were in the alley, over to Mini Graddies for the loose fag. You could buy one fag in Mini Graddies.
We were only talking about that, me and
Yeah.
Paddy, down
Yeah.
the shop across from the cinema. What was the name of Craig's? Was it?
Craig's, yeah.
Yeah, I used to be able to buy him single there as well, and.
I never remember him single there.
Yeah, that was when we were going to school. Now we started going.
No,
we
not
all meet
in
there
my
at the
time. There's only Mini Graddies. She had a big cardboard box.
Where?
With
Where
no-
was that?
Smith's Lane, across the road from the alley.
Again, Teddy would have
Yeah,
mentioned
yeah.
that.
How about the post office, Jackie? The boys in the post office. There must be some crew.
There was some characters there. There's only one left now of who I started with. Jimmy Hanlon is the only one left.
Yeah.
The rest are all gone.
Well, no, sure. Yeah, from your
Yeah,
time.
yeah.
But
What year did you finish working there, Jack? Did you remember?
I started in the post office in 1964 in Drogheda,
Right.
and I came back here in '66.
And you were there till
I was there for my lifetime.
lifetime.
Yeah. We had a few post orders there from London that you signed off on a few there recently. People had found them, didn't they?
Brian O'Sullivan is the name, the lad that found them.
Yeah.
And he told me about them, and he sent them to me.
Yeah.
I don't know where they finished up on eBay. How they got there, nobody knows.
Yeah.
But they were the actual, my signature is on them.
That's right.
And that in the early years, people would be down over Friday and a Saturday waiting for the few bob to come from the son or daughter in England, and especially at Christmas time. And a Christmas Eve, you could get 100 of them in of a Christmas Eve telegraph money orders.
And you got to know everybody, I suppose, like there's one job that where you get to meet everybody every day, and you know what was going on all over the place, obviously, because...
You had, because at that time, a lot of people weren't able to read and write at that time, and a lot of them would come in. If I was there, they'd ask me would I fill up an old form for them.
Yeah.
Whereas there was one or two of my colleagues wouldn't be too inclined at the time.
I know.
But there was a lot of women and that I was write things for. And then when the Christmas time had come, when the family had come home, if you meet Jack in the pub, make sure you get him a pint. And I got many a pint that way.
The old Postal Telegraphs.
Yeah, but in my time, there was two. It was Pause and what's now Telecom Airden. That was kind of the telegraph side of it. There was some great characters. I'd say there must have been up to 50 lads working up the back that time.
Yeah.
You know, that's all gone.
Had you Pa Herbert there? No, was it Pa was there? Was he?
Yeah.
Pa Herbert, Jim Carney, Billy Callahan, this is all. Frank Grady.
Oh, there's another character now.
Frank was my greatest pal.
Was he?
Yeah.
Can you give me, I suppose, before we finish up, the stories, I suppose, myself, Paddy, all the lads have always had some legendary stories. Have you one good story about Frank or one good?
He went into May Smith's of a morning and told people inside in the shop that the Shanana Bridge was after falling down on top of the railway tracks, and people went up to see it. And
he was a teller, wasn't he?
And when he moved to Garrynderk, he put a banner across the Charleville Kilmarnock Road. Welcome to Limerick, the home of football.
He was a teller. Lads, we had to. He was some man.
But there was four of us who's got in the matches, and they're all gone now. Frank, Willie Joe Fitzgibbon, and Noel Callahan.
Yeah, very good.
And we left the hole in the wall of a Saturday for the Munster football final in Killarney. We went to Ballybunion, and we missed the first 20 minutes of the match.
They were surprising. Great times, Jackie.
They were great days.
I'm sure, I suppose it's fantastic to hear the stories. We've gathered so much information even in a short space of time, but there are things that are lost in time, and it's great to hear people speak, because I hear so much about Frank and people like him, and he was supposed to be, I mean, remember the time we were doing the slagging on the radio there, we used to be on 96 FM, myself and Roger Connolly and a lady across, we were gathering, myself, him and Rory Herbert on the top of Broad Street, and an old lady passed you in. Frank Grady won't be dead long with the 3V around, she said. So, you were always compared to Frank.
He was a great character.
Yeah. But listen, Jackie, look, I really appreciate you taking the time to talk to us.
And a pleasure.
A pleasure to talk to you, a legend of Charleville, and fantastic. And
you couldn't do no, Martin, before you go. Give me 1 minute for the weekend.
I'll try and do that. I'll try and get with myself first, Jackie.